I'd like to call the Maysville Board of Commissioners to order Thursday, March the 10th, 2022. We'll start with our invocation with Reverend Lees.
Shall we pray? God of all wisdom and God of all comfort, God of all mercy, we come before you and we thank you for your goodness. We thank you for your displays of love that you show in so many ways. But as we gather here this evening, we pray that you would extend to us your wisdom. We pray that you give us direction. And we just pray that every decision that is made here would be to the benefit of our community and to your glory. In Christ's name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Reverend Lees. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Brammer.
Yes.
Commissioner Cartmell.
Yes, sir. Sir.
Commissioner Wood.
Here.
Commissioner McKay. Mayor Cotterill.
Yes, sir.
I'm here. City Attorney Caudle.
Here.
HR Director Rose.
Here.
Project Coordinator Horde.
Here.
Public Works Director Truesdale.
Here.
Assistant Chief Palmer.
Here.
Fire Chief Doyle.
Here.
Utility Manager Julian.
Here.
Okay.
Thank you. Minutes of the February 10th, 2022, and department reports. I would entertain a consent.
So moved.
Second. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Brammer.
Yes, sir.
Commissioner Cartmell.
Yes.
Commissioner Wood.
Yes.
Commissioner McKay.
Yes.
Mayor Cotterill.
Yes, sir. We will not be going speedily this evening as
You're
Matt
fine.
is
You're
doing
okay.
he's doing a dual road tonight, so thank you, Matt.
You're
You
welcome.
don't get payday.
No, it's okay. I can handle it.
I have appointments this evening. First is Maysville Housing Commission. Lamont Johnson, whose term will expire in March 13th of 2026.
So moved.
Second. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Brammer.
Yes, sir.
Commissioner Cartmell.
Yes.
Commissioner Wood.
Yes.
Commissioner McKay.
Yes.
Mayor Cotterill.
Yes, sir. And I would also like the reappointment of Curtis Rosser as a citizen member of the Buffalo Trace Ag District Board.
So moved.
Second. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Brammer.
Yes, sir.
Commissioner Cartmell.
Yes, sir.
Commissioner Wood.
Yes.
Commissioner McKay.
Yes.
Mayor Cotterill.
Yes. And that term would expire December 31st of 2026. Any public announcements? I would like to remind commissioners that the YMCA virtual workout room ribbon cutting is tomorrow morning at 8:30 a.m. Any other public announcements? Mr. Brian Helpenstein, Residential Treatment Center. Come to the end of the table, Brian.
Right there, Brian. Yeah.
Thank you. I just wanted to give you a report and maybe ask a question or two, or see if I could get some help in any kind of way. We're ready to proceed. We're looking for properties. I've been on Zillow, Trulia, Landon Farm, LoopNet, Home Finder. As it stands right now, I think the Tommy Henderson's property, the Wild Bull, so I've heard somebody's gonna put a restaurant in that, so I think that's sort of out. There's a place across from Kroger between Fastenal and Kibler. It's the Woodman Lot building. It's for the building, for that little lot there in the building, I think it's like 800 and some thousand, 884 or something, which is, you know, a little expensive. And then if we get the lot beside it, I think it's 1.3 million or something. So we know that that's maybe on the higher end of things. We found a place in Germantown on the Mason County side. It's a restaurant slash hotel slash residence slash whatever else. And it used to be called the old Country Inn, maybe.
That's poor man's properties. Yeah.
Buckman's, they also call it Buchanan's Tavern or something.
Yeah.
But anyway, it's not, nobody has it now and it hasn't been in use in a few years and stuff. We looked at that, there's close to 10,000 square feet, but it's a restaurant too, so we were thinking like maybe we can use the restaurant, let people who are trying to stay clean in there work at the restaurant and feed themselves and others. I went to the Germantown City Council meeting, or Town Council meeting, and to ask them about, I guess they have no zoning out there, which is could be a plus for us, I guess. They said they'd love to see it stay a restaurant, because it's probably the only restaurant they have, or maybe have had for a while. So we have that, and I think it's listed at $359 or something, and then the guy who owns it is beside it, and they said he would probably sell it if it's a make me move deal. Like, it just means if you offer me enough, I'll sell it to you and leave. So we have that. It's probably going to be $500,000 or more for both properties, well over maybe $600,000. I don't know. But I'm sort of giving you an idea where we're looking around. Then a friend of mine in recovery who's from Germantown was like, "Man," he said, "that Germantown school's over." He said, "All we've used that school for is to play basketball in." I don't know if that's true or not. It's just the classrooms and stuff in it, but they use it. They rent the gym out for $10 an hour. So that's on the Brighton County side, Then I talked to the judge executive for Lewis County, Mr. Stanfield, and about they have a jail over there they're not using. And I know Portugal decriminalized drugs, and they turn their jails and prisons into rehabs, and they turn their guards into monitors and counselors. So I don't know if that's a lot of information for me to be throwing at you, but I guess what I'm trying to project is how hard we're looking for a place. Does anybody in this room know of anywhere where we could possibly put human beings who want to get and do better, clean up stuff? If you don't know anywhere, or Matt, you think of anything? Somebody said that the Baptist church on Pelham and Forest Avenue, there's a little Bank of Maysville there. Behind it, there's a church. I heard that they were not having church anymore. They're going to give that church, I think, to maybe even River Outreach or something. But I'm just saying, if you all have heard any churches that are no longer.
But that was not big enough for you, Brian. That would be big enough for you, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
The church would?
It's got a full basement.
It does.
I remember eating, we had a little,
Right.
some kind of shindig down in the basement when I was younger.
Yeah.
We ate down in there. I remember my family, I remember that church. But I think they promised it or given it maybe to River Outreach, so that may be out of, yeah, see.
Yeah, but in Wild Bull, just $175,000.
It's just a lot cheaper, but
Yeah.
I heard Mr. Lofton is moving into it from the Dinner Bell. To have a
But
restaurant.
then I
That's
heard
just a
he
room.
wasn't, I don't know. I heard
That's
it was
a
like-
Yeah.
room.
But it gives you room to build off, doesn't it?
Well,
If
I-
you have to.
I talked to the realtor, Mr. Lowe, Christopher Lowe, something. He took me and showed me around in there and everything. And then he said he'd be getting back with me. He was gonna talk to the owner, Tommy. He hasn't got back with me. I guess I could recall him or something like that. But I know it's a flood, so was that considered a flood zone or just flooded once?
It was just that one time
Yeah.
it flooded really, really
He has
bad.
6 or 7 acres down there where the football field used to be.
Right.
Yeah, I know it does,
That's a flood zone.
That's in the flood zone, yeah.
Excuse me.
Okay. Anything else, Brian?
It's just, we're searching for a bit, it's a bad time, I guess, for looking for 1 and 2 story, whatever. So if anybody hears or sees anything, or think of anything, of course, we could build, that's gonna take time. You're talking about 7 months plus, right, Matt?
Yeah, probably.
You know,
Depends on the size and who has jurisdiction, whether it's the city, county, city, county inspector, or if it's the state.
because our Victor's council, we've always talked about the crossing the hospital, going there.
I always thought that would be the
Ideal, yeah. But building from scratch should be no less than 6 months, before we could have doors open and people going in it. So I just wanted to throw that out there, that we're, if anybody listening, watching,
Infrastructure's there though.
Mhm.
It's already there. these houses.
Oh,
Yes, the Collins property.
Yeah,
So, yeah,
What, 87 acres, Dave? Does that sound right?
is that what is it?
About 87, Brian. Yeah.
Across from the hospital?
Yes, sir.
Well,
Would there be an office?
somebody was telling me the other day that,
Would there be up there? Reach out,
Yeah.
on out the highway there is the, industrial park. Is there, somebody said there was a few places empty there. Is that doable, or is it just like warehouse looking stuff?
Yeah, and there are projects in the work on for those properties out there. Yeah,
We're just-
I know, I get it.
Keep
And I
I'm keeping my ear to the ground, you know.
Sure.
Trying to just,
appreciate your hard work on it.
we want to make it happen, you know.
I know.
Get it
why don't
behind
you,
us.
why don't you call Tommy Henderson
Okay.
and see what he's got,
Okay.
because you got room up there if you.
Well,
It's almost 5,000 square feet.
And it's all new.
Yeah,
It's got new roof and
it's
new,
got everything.
Yeah.
He redone all that.
At the Wild Bull?
Yeah.
I went and looked at it, and when you go in there and to the right, it looks okay. There's 2 bathrooms for people to use.
Yeah.
But to the left, rough.
There,
I thought it was all, somebody told me there was apartments upstairs, and
no,
but it's all rough. The floor needs, like, you see dirt. I mean, like, it's, on to the left, it's all rough.
need to put a floor in, yeah. But it's within walking distance, you know,
I think it's an ideal place because I don't think anybody really would cry too much about
I
it.
do too.
they've been cleaning that out too, haven't they? Because there was
Looks
a
like
dumpster sitting out there or something this
There was
week.
some kind of a truck with a big bed on it and stuff in it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I've noticed that. But, yeah, I like the location because, it's, like Commissioner Carmen said, it's accessible to different places. It's also close to the jail in case you don't want to act right.
did
And,
you talk to Tommy about that?
I talked to the real estate agent, Mr. Lowe, and he said he was gonna have lunch with him at Frisch's and talk to him, but I haven't heard anything back from him.
Well, you know him, right?
Yeah, I do. I've messaged him on Facebook and haven't
Okay.
heard anything.
Okay.
I think it'd be nice, I mean, I'm just being ridiculous about this, about turning a bar into I think, I like stuff like that, but I mean, you know, I don't know how excited everybody else is about him, but I like that idea of, you know, because there's been trouble there before.
Yeah.
I think it's sort of like been a rough house
Yeah.
place. Well, thank y'all.
All right.
And Brian, don't hesitate to reach out to me or anybody. If you
Okay.
find a piece of property, if, we can do the background on it, the zoning and that
Okay,
sort of
great.
stuff, because we want to try to help you move
Thank you.
ahead. Okay.
Then we get it behind us and just start
You're
getting
welcome.
people
Move on.
help.
Yeah.
Yeah, move on.
Appreciate it.
Thank you all very
Thanks,
much.
Brian.
Thanks, Brian.
I would like to say a welcome to Mason County Judge Executive Owen McNeil for joining us this evening. Thank you. And now, public comment.
Is this where you can ask questions? Time?
Yes.
Hey, Kirby.
Kirby Best, those of you don't know me.
Kirby, come up to the end of the table if you don't care, so we can get you on the mic.
Okay.
Thank you.
The hospital lot up on 5th Street, it's overgrown. I asked David and them to look at it a couple times last year, and it's an eyesore. I got a adjoining property up on 6th Street, and they got some young kids, they can't even go up and down the hill, come down to get on the school bus. So I'm just wondering, I know y'all in litigation about the property and everything up there. Just wondering if something be done about that.
Hey, Kirby, is there a set of steps there or anything that comes down from 6th to 5th?
It's steps in between the lot and the hospital, which has been overtaken, hadn't had anything done for years up there.
Because I know we own a lot of.
You got William White that lives up in the corner.
Okay.
He's on the cane and everything, and he got to go out the street to come down the hill.
Okay.
But hadn't anything been done there steps, a dozen years or so, I know.
Do you know if they are part of Hazewood's lot, or because on 5th and 6th we have a lot of areas where we maintain the steps, but it's
right.
the
That's
the old
one-
alleys that we owned.
That's one of the sections of steps that, as far as I know, the city
Okay.
did own.
Well,
and
let's
probably
look
still
at
own.
that and see if we
Just
own
hadn't been any
those.
maintenance done to
If
it.
we own it, we'll be up there.
We cleaned that off 10 years ago. That's the last time it's been done.
Well, I'm saying I had,
If we own it,
I had
Kirby,
been cleaning the
we'll
lot,
take care of it.
keeping it cut back myself.
Yeah.
Up on the top of the hill, but I'm at the point now. I'm getting old and slow and broken down.
we'll look at it.
Okay.
I understand. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Kirby.
Thank you for bringing it to our attention, and please know that we have not forgotten about Hazelwood, and we continue to make efforts toward resolving that.
Ma'am,
Yes, sir.
David, can you give us an update on this project, this ASAP project, the road conditions, and
Which road?
You
what about the
wanna come
downtown
over here?
area first?
Yeah, just come up here, Dave. It's right here is fine.
The one on Third Street, they're actually, they were doing a service today down at the sheriff's office. That's one of the last ones that they'll have besides the post office on Third Street, and everything will be done.
What's that encompass when you say everything will be done?
Everything will be done on Third Street.
Okay,
Okay, there's still some more to do on Limestone. There's still a couple more to do on Market Street, Upper Market. And then 4th Street, they'll have some more tie-ins and connections to do from the sidewalk to the house. But as far as 3rd Street, we're gonna start milling on that within the next week or two, because the asphalt plant will be opening up hopefully here shortly. And then Forest Avenue, that'll probably go through biggest part of the summer. You know, by the time they get all the taps and get everything done up there, so,
Yeah, they said it'd be 4 or 5 months.
yeah. And, I mean, but as far as this, I mean, when they get these done, we're gonna try to work our way out, you know, as far as the asphalt and the paving. We just don't wanna get in front of them with
right.
that or sidewalks. Some of the sidewalks we repaired, and we're trying to stay up on that, but, yeah, it's,
All right, good. So we got blacktop.
now, some of the work that happened on Market Street was for fiber, open fiber, and there were some areas that wasn't involved with the contractor or Columbia Gas. That was a whole different. That was Kentucky Wire and Open Fiber Kentucky that had done some work. in
Private
there.
work.
It's private work. It wasn't for the city.
No.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you, David.
Yep.
Thank you, Commissioner McKay. Any other public comment?
You know, I have something to say. We all, I think, got an email from a fella who's addressing the lights at 3rd and Limestone. Did you get them? Yeah.
Is that today?
No.
Oh, the gentleman from Missouri, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, and, you know, that is obviously a state highway.
Yeah.
So it would be up to,
Okay.
I'll check with the highway department. It would be up to the highway department. No disrespect to them, but I'm afraid if it's something that we decided we want to do,
Yeah.
probably,
We have to pay for it,
would
yeah.
probably on our bill,
Yeah.
David, yeah. But yes, I'm aware of that.
But I mean, we got rid of the overhead wires and
Sure.
I just hate to start them again. But
Oh, no, we wouldn't want to do, no.
Okay.
It will be something similar to what's done in Bardstown.
okay.
Thank you. Update discussion on abandoned blighted property tax ordinance.
All right, first I want to apologize. I think Nicole and I had some miscommunication. I think she thought we were going to do this at the next meeting, but she and I have talked. I got it. So I do want to go, I think it's important. You know, I shared information with the 5 of you 2 or 3 weeks ago, I think. And I think it's time now to share this with the public. If you recall, back in December of 2020, we passed the abandoned blighted property tax ordinance, in which we assess a much higher tax on those properties that are considered abandoned and blighted by the Vacant Property Review Commission, which is also our code enforcement board. So in January of 2021, when we started this process, we had 135 properties that we identified. Okay? We sent letters to all the properties. Those property owners had the right to appeal that designation. So with that, we had approximately 35 appeals in March of 2021. We divvied that up into 3 different meetings, did about 10 or 11, 12 each meeting. With that, 24 of those properties were granted an appeal. And when I say an appeal, they were allowed to come in, get a property maintenance permit, and had to show work on the property at least every month, get a hold of Nicole and show that they're working on the property. The rest of them appealed and got taken off immediately. The board felt that it was warranted to take them off of the list. So that left us with about 100 properties. So in between that time, let's say May, June of last year and the end of this year, well, what happened was Nicole worked with a lot of these other property owners that didn't file for an appeal to do work on their property. Some, just by getting notice, started to work on their property. And a lot of these, which is what we wanted, sold. They transferred hands into somebody else. So fast forward to January of this year, we had 59 properties on the list. Gang, it's working. It is working. And with those 59 properties, Nicole tells me that she has 14 that want to appeal to the Vacant Property Review Commission. And that meeting will be set up later on this month, where they'll be able to come in and state their case. And then the board, the Vacant Property Review Commission, can either take them off then or require them to get a property maintenance permit, show progress. And you all have been given a list in the code enforcement report that kind of shows where we are. You can see the ones we've taken off. You can see the ones in red that we've added. And even just going down through here, I can see one that that isn't going to be appealed, but I know we've been contacted about demoing it. Not us, but somebody working with the bank to demo it, one I talked to you about. There's one down here on East 2nd Street. Just had a call from a property owner today who wants to buy it and take it down and utilize the lot. There's another one on here that I was contacted by the owner. Said, hey, what do we need to do? We want to take it down. I said, just come in, do your appeal, get your applications. It's working. Is it perfect? No. Are there properties we may have missed? Yes. But we'll continue to review them, but this ordinance is working.
I know there was hesitancy when we first discussed that here 5, 6, 7, 8 years
Yeah.
ago. So we're seeing the fruits of it.
We are. Absolutely, Commissioner. It is working.
So good. Good job.
Yes, yes.
Good job.
Well, and I'll tell you what, I apologize that she's not here. Nicole has worked her hind end off on this and has done a fantastic job. And I give her the utmost credit on this ordinance. She has really worked it.
Yeah, I know she.
Yes, she has.
I've talked to
Commissioner,
her.
she's done a great job.
Done a
So
good job.
kudos to her. And she will keep pushing on this.
That's good.
Yes, ma'am.
Good
Any
job.
questions on that?
Is there any way we can help? There was a property on West Second, the back end of it is fallen in, but the people were living in the front end. Now they're out on the street again.
You're
They-
talking about corner of Short Street and what?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, a
I
couple
know
of
what
houses
you're
in.
I don't have an answer to that, David, but if you get with me, tomorrow, first of the week, I'll see if I
Okay.
can get an answer
I
for you
think
on
that
that.
house can be made livable.
I agree, and if I'm not mistaken, Nicole has had some prospective buyers
Okay.
who've inquired about that.
Okay.
Yeah, and I agree 100%,
I think
absolutely.
it's just the back end. that's
Yes, ma'am.
calling you.
Yes,
Yeah,
ma'am.
'cause
It's just
It's
the back
row
end.
house.
He's been in the
Yeah.
nursing home, and
Yeah.
I'd love to see him have.
Yeah, because we talked about that a few months
Yeah.
back on
Yeah.
that one.
Yeah.
But you get back with me, and I'll see if I can get you an
Okay.
answer on that.
All right.
Thank you, Matt.
Yes, ma'am.
Discussion quarterly cleanup.
Dennis, you correct me if I'm wrong, but we're looking at April 1st through April 11th to do a cleanup to set dumpsters out. Typically, once a year, we accept tires, and it's typically in the spring when we do the cleanup. You want to float our idea that we've talked about and why we'd like to do this with the tires?
We want to move the tire pickup to the Public Works Department. I want to operate the tire cleanup. I want people to bring their tires if it's okay with you guys. We want to bring them in at 7 o'clock in the morning till about 10 or 11 at night. I'll have somebody stationed there
Limit?
and a limit of 4 tires per household or, per person. And we only want to stay in our city limits. That way I can stop people from Ohio bringing them in, people out into the county. I've got somebody there that can watch it. We'll put them down in the back lot when we're done. We'll take the tires and count them up, haul them off. But anything over 4, we're gonna have to set a charge on them. They charge us $5 a tire. So if I'm gonna have to haul them off, I'm thinking $7 or $8 a tire. You guys give me a number, we'll go with.
I think that's fair because that covers your cost to take it to the landfill
I've gotta haul them
and
to
your
the
fuel
landfill.
and everything.
And,
Now
you
you
know, and I've
take,
got it.
gonna take rims too, right?
Rims will haul to the recycling centers. If
No, I
there's-
mean, what if the tire's on the rim?
Yes,
You can take it off.
Okay.
they'll go to the landfill, so they'll be charged for that. So, and then I have to count if they're bigger tires, you know, like say a tire on
1000.
an ambulance, 1020s. They charge more for them. The landfill does. So, you know, they charge for 16s, 17s, and 18s, and then anything above the 18s, the price goes up a little
So
bit.
people, we're gonna charge people when they bring the tires out there.
They'll get 4.
Okay.
You
If
get
they
4
just bring
free.
4 out there, they'll get 4. Now, if they
Okay.
bring 4 the next day and we catch them and we remember them and the same people's working, I've
Okay.
got to charge them for them 4 tires. We're going to have to do something. We're eating a big
A
cost
big cost, yeah.
of tire cleanup. And we don't need to stop it or we're going to find it in our hollers, up and down our creek streams. So we need to keep our tire cleanup if possible. And Mr. McKay, you had talked the last time about not stopping it on a Monday and giving them time to work up. I'm even willing, if you want to do the tire cleanup, to the Tuesday or Wednesday. I know you had mentioned keeping an extra couple more days after the weekend.
Yeah.
So,
If it's possible.
you know, so
We'll
we
get
had
together.
talked
We can do
about
that.
the 11th, so if you want me to carry it over till the 13th, that would be a Wednesday. That's when I'll move the dumpsters out and we'll end it then in the middle of the week and everybody will know. That is entirely up to you guys. I just want to make sure that we can, make sure we pick that back up for you.
Well, the date to file taxes is extended, so I think
Thank you all.
Y'all good? Everybody good with those dates and everything? Okay, great.
Thank you all.
What are the dates
So
again?
what is
April
the
1st
date
through
now?
April 1st through the 11th for the dumpsters. Dennis, one thing we forgot to,
April 1st through the 13th.
13th for dumpsters and tires.
Yes,
Okay.
dumpsters and tires.
What about appliances?
Appliances, we're gonna do our appliance pickup at the same, we're gonna do it the same way I'll do it at the, Station 2 Police Department on 4th Avenue and the Public Works Garage. We still will do our appliances. So,
Are you, when you say public works, are you talking about the one on Martha Comer? Or the
Yes.
one across from-
no, the one on Martha Comer Drive.
Okay.
Yeah, out to our Public Works Garage, because then I've got the gate right there, I can shut the gate.
Yeah.
You know, I've got cameras there. If they drop anything off in the middle of the night, somebody pulls in there and drops off a load, well, then I've still got cameras
Sorry,
there.
that's your building.
And then Station 2 is gonna be up at his Station 2 Police Department on 4th Avenue.
But no tires up there.
No tires up there, one tire place. I think we need to limit to one tire place.
Okay.
If they can bring them to us, then that way we can maintain a better count and a better number of them.
And I'll get with you and we'll craft a release to get that out to the
Sure.
public.
All right. Any other comments or questions? Discussions, street sweeper.
Some of you were able to come down here to City Hall, was it last week? Last week we had a street sweeper demonstration. A big street sweeper that we plan on putting money in the budget this coming year to get one. You all know, we're all aware that the one we have now, it doesn't cut it. It doesn't cut it. And this one will. It will cut it. It will pick up pop cans. It'll do it. It'll do everything. With that, whether you approve or not that item in the budget, if we do end up getting it, we're going to have to get back onto the schedule that we have for our streets to get cars moved. So I wanted to pick your brains about starting that back up because typically it starts April 1st. April 1st through November 30th.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
To start that back up, to get folks used to moving their cars. If they don't move their cars, we can't effectively sweep the streets. And when we get this new one, it's a lot bigger than the one we have now. The last thing we want to do is hit a vehicle. But what I would propose to you, if we do it, and I've talked to Assistant Chief Palmer about this, is give a month reprieve, maybe the month of April, and issue warnings and not start issuing tickets until May 1st.
I'm good with that.
But I
Are
want,
we gonna run the one that doesn't work?
it works. It works. You'd be surprised to see how much debris it picks up. Yes, it doesn't put the water down like this.
It doesn't have an air vac.
Yeah, there you go. Thank you, Dennis.
It's not an air vac.
Come up here a little closer and
It is a
explain.
broom sweeper. What we have now is a broom sweeper. It works just strictly on the brooms. So it has no down pressure, it's just set pressure. This other one is an air vac sweeper. It forces air down to the ground, and then the brooms have down pressure on them, and then it picks everything up and sucks it up into the sweeper.
With water
With
mixed
water.
in so you don't see the dust.
So it's got, and then the one I'm looking at, I'm gonna put a magnet pickup on the front bumper so that any nails and stuff, that's anything in the roadway, we can attach it to the front of it. That's an add-on. But I wanna make sure that if we get the right sweeper, we gotta do the right thing and make sure people move their vehicles.
Oh, I agree on that. I mean, I've been.
And
I've been
if we
begging
can
for one
enforce that
since 2013. The streets aren't clean.
We spent a few $1,000s on our tar locks. I think we spent a couple $1,000s on our tar locks to lock them up. We used them 1 year, and then the COVID hit us. And then I recommended shutting it down and not charging them. It brought it into you all that we stopped that. But now we're going to have to get back to work with it.
Were you privy to the one that they brought down here about 5 years ago? It was 130,000. It was a compact.
Yeah.
It would spin on a dime, and it would be a truck carrying limestone rock from.
Yeah, and it was.
And it sucked that stuff up like it was nothing. But
And this one does the same thing, but they've all your conventional ones has went to an over cab. That one was a cab over, to where you sit back here. But they said with the bigger box, they had to lengthen the rail, so they just went with the cab over. It didn't help them on the turning radius. Tires still sat back underneath them, so it's still just as good. I've got another one coming in the 1st of April. Another sweeper company's going to bring us in a different one. It's a Timco. So we'll be looking at it too, but there's 2 or 3 different types. This one was a Johnson. Mr. Andrew was here with it, and so was you. So we seen it. It was made by Johnson's, which is in Lexington, and we have another one coming in. So hopefully we can make a pick from one of them. And
The thing I liked about it was you didn't have to have a lot of extra parts, and the left side and the right side were interchangeable.
exactly.
So there was a lot of features on it that
Yeah, they
made
did
a
some
lot of
changing
common
on it.
sense.
So you could take, if you ordered a broom for the passenger side, it still fit the driver's side.
Yeah.
Now on the old ones like we got now, you got to order the right side or the left side.
what about CDL?
And it's in this CDL. Yes, it's CDL required. So,
It's the real deal.
and the
What we
next
need.
one that we get, the next one that we're looking at too is going to be a CDL. Any of the air vac sweepers or, something like that we're moving up is a CDL requirement because it hits us over the 26,001 pound.
Any questions? So, would you all be open to warnings for the month of April
Yeah.
and start, just to try to get folks acclimated again?
Yeah, and even an ad on Channel 10
Oh, yeah, we'll get it out there. Yes, sir. We will publicize this. Yes. In fact, I think years back we put some A-frames out on some of the major streets that said so people when they drove by we could do that again.
And even in the first month, we went with flyers too, that if they was in the way, we put a flyer on their windshield
We can do that.
and noted that.
And it's Clay, if he could utilize his alert
Yeah.
system too.
You should put on the alert.
Is that something that what's your thoughts on, something and it's not an emergency, but it's a general
Remind.
Yeah, the
come
rate
up,
system.
Clay, come on. Just stand up by there you go.
The rate system does allow you to trigger just emails or just calls. I would probably be
Good thought.
cautious
Good
about
thought.
the calls. Or get into the habit that we use it too much for non-emergent. Because
Right.
at that point, I'm afraid people would say, "Well, I don't want to get that," and not sign up for it and not get the emergency alert.
Right.
But like I said, you could tailor it to just send out emails. I mean, there's.
Could you do emails and texts?
Yes.
Or do you think a text would be
No, I think, and
Okay.
I can target just city limits.
Yeah.
And send out a text. I just, in the past, some of the code red system, if the parade was canceled, we used it and different things, and then people stopped it. They discontinued the service. But
That's a good idea though.
Thank you, Clay. Discussion sidewalk survey.
Okay, if you recall back during the budget session for this year, back in April and May, we talked about the need to start repairing our sidewalks. Dennis and I had watched a League of Cities seminar on sidewalks, and they basically told us, look, they're public ways. It's your responsibility as the locality to keep them in good shape. So with that, what we talked about was we had been approached by a company that does sidewalk repairs, not complete replacement, but repairs. And I think some of you may have seen the demonstration that was out here. They had to do a survey, and they have completed half of that survey. Excuse me. They have completed a survey on half of the town with sidewalks. There's two options. One is roughly $87,000, and that would be to do anything that is a half-inch lip up to a 2-inch lip. They would grind it down to where it would be smooth. Or $110,000 to do a 1/4-inch lip up to a 2-inch lip. And the way I understand it, trip and fall regs are 1/4 of an inch. 1/4 of an inch. If you recall, when we talked last late spring, early summer, Penny recommended seeing what the survey came back, and we talked about a number of around $100,000 to utilize. That was our request originally for sidewalk repairs. She said, let's hold off and see what the survey is, come back and amend the budget. I want to get your all's thoughts on it. I think it's something we need to do. And with this survey, they not only looked at what they could do, they highlighted the areas for us to repair. Those areas that are in complete disrepair that they can't grind.
Well, they do a really good job.
They do.
I'll tell you.
Is that all sidewalks in the city or just in downtown? Is that all sidewalks?
Oh, everything in the city. Everything, everywhere it's got a sidewalk, yes. Now, Commissioner, the vast majority are going to be bottom of the hill.
Right.
But I mean,
Yeah.
I think it's a good thing. I just need your blessing if you want to move forward so we can start the project, and then Penny will come back to you all later in the fiscal year and we can amend the budget. We'll try to do that one time in case there's some other things in there that we need to take care of at the same time. But I want to get your input on how you'd like for us to proceed.
So right now, we don't repair sidewalks if they get out of kilowhack, is that right?
We have started doing that. Now, obviously, if it's a sidewalk in front of one of our public properties that we own, yes, absolutely. But we have started looking at those that are in disrepair. You went and looked at one on Wood Street today that you're going to get a crew on.
Looked at another one on Pelham Street in Eastland today, too.
And what we would do as a city is we would try to identify the absolute worst. We're not going to be able to do them all in 1 year. And start with the worst and try to phase these in.
Do we do this work or does this company?
This company will do the work, Commissioner, where they can where there's a lip anywhere from a 1/4 of an inch. I would recommend go to the 1/4 of an inch to 2 inches. They will grind that down. Now, the ones you see, for example, out here in front of the parking lot of the little strip center around from the liquor store, where it's in total disrepair.
Yeah,
That one will be replaced.
that's bad.
Yeah, it is.
And so the city would do the replacement.
On any of those like that. And they've identified those areas in the survey. I've got 2 books that are this thick where they have surveyed everything and shown us the ones that we would need to do.
And we have also applied for a grant to work on some sidewalks as well.
Yes, ma'am. We've applied for a Transportation Alternatives Program grant that would go from Wall Street down McDonald, both sides, Dave, correct me if I'm wrong, of East 2nd. And that's big because they haven't surveyed East 2nd yet. So it would be great if we can get this grant because you all know it. You see people up and down that street all the time. So yeah.
Start getting further that way, we start seeing trees that's rotted out, that's been cut off, that's hooved the
Yeah.
sidewalk up,
Yeah.
that does have to be replaced there.
Yeah, and it's dangerous.
It is.
Yeah.
Are you all
Yeah.
are you okay with now with the 110,000? Okay. Okay. So we will come. We'll talk to Penny. We'll come back to you later on for a budget amendment.
Okay.
Is that an every year fee or a one-time fee or?
That would be for the set that they've surveyed already, Commissioner. Then they would come back But if you recall, the conversation we had, and I reiterated that the conversation I had with the company was, we don't want to do this all at once. We need to spread this out over a couple years so that our expenses are spread out over a couple of years.
But once that's done.
Yeah.
Then it wouldn't be like an every year thing.
No.
Are there other companies that do this, or is there?
This
other
is
law?
proprietary. It's a proprietary process.
You know, typically I'd say I'd like to see a bid or two or three to.
I
make
think
sure-
they're the only ones that do it. And here's the kicker. When you look at the 1/4 of an inch versus a 1/2 an inch, the cost per linear foot is lower for a 1/4 of an inch. It's $18 per linear foot for a 1/4 of an inch to 2 inches. It's $23 per linear foot for a 1/2 inch to 2 inches. So even though it costs a little bit more, we're getting more bang for our buck because of the cost, because of the price difference per linear foot. And homeowners have the opportunity to utilize this company while they're in town. For example, if you have a sidewalk that's going up to your house, you can contract with this company and they'll grind your sidewalk down. Now, that's a contract between the private property owner and the company, but they will do that as well.
Who are they out of?
They've got an office in either Lexington or Louisville, but I think they're based out of Tennessee. Yeah.
Do they ever do concrete lifting instead of just grinding? I wonder if there's circumstances where they should do lifting of concrete instead of just the grinding off of.
Didn't we have somebody concrete lifting, where they
Yes.
pumped? Didn't we do something like
We had
that?
something like that, and that was really expensive there.
That You know-
particular company doesn't do that.
They don't. No, they do not do that. They
No, the
spec.
company that the one he's speaking of, they don't do that. They grind them down.
But then they do something down on the eastern end of town. The company came in and it was kind of high.
Yes.
They actually, it's cut, they cut it off. They don't grind it.
Yeah.
It's cut off with a saw.
That's why it's proprietary.
And there's some all around City Hall here.
Yeah, you can see 'em.
We had it
Yeah.
done several years ago.
Yeah.
It's the same company that did that.
They did a good job.
They do a really good job. Yeah. So if you all are okay, we'll move forward and we'll come back to you with a budget amendment later in the fiscal year. Excuse me.
Thank you. Municipal Order Maternal Paternal Leave Policy 22-01.
Municipal order regarding maternity and paternity leave. Whereas the city recognizes that employees may need to be absent from work to care for a newborn child or a new adopted or fostered child, referred to as parental leave in this policy, or due to a pregnancy-related condition referred to as pregnancy leave in this policy, the city provides pregnancy and parental leave of absence to all eligible employees with the Kentucky Pregnant Workers Act, Pregnancy Discrimination Act, Americans with Disabilities Act, and any applicable law. Now therefore be it ordered as follows. The Human Resources Officer is responsible for the administration of this policy. If you have any questions regarding this policy, or if you have questions about pregnancy or parental leave that are not addressed in this policy, please contact the Human Resources Officer. 2, if an employee needs to take parental leave for the birth of their child or to care for a newly adopted child, they should provide advance notice to their department director or the Human Resources Officer. When possible, they should give at least 30-day notice of their request for leave. If a 30-day notice is not possible because of medical necessity or other reasons, they should give as much advance notice to the city as possible. 3, if an employee is suffering from a pregnancy-related disability and requires a reasonable accommodation, which may include leave for this purpose, they should speak with their department director and/or the Human Resources Officer to discuss a reasonable accommodation. Employees may be required to submit medical certification of their disability. 4, during pregnancy and parental leave, employees eligible for FMLA will continue to be paid their normal rate of pay for up to 4 weeks. Employees receiving pregnancy and parental leave are prohibited from engaging in outside employment. Employees who engage in other employment or self-employment while on authorized pregnancy and parental leave will be terminated unless written authorization has been granted prior to commencement of leave of absence. Employees not eligible for FMLA may use any or all of their accrued but unused vacation or other paid time off during their pregnancy and parental leave. Employees should contact the Human Resources Officer with any questions about your eligibility for FMLA leave. After the first 4 weeks of paid leave, qualifying employees are required to use any accrued and unused vacation and sick leave while on FMLA. During pregnancy and parental leave, all benefits provided under an employee benefit plan are governed by the terms and conditions of the applicable employee benefit plan documents in accordance with applicable law. For all other benefits, an employee on pregnancy or parental leave will receive the same rights and benefits as employees on a paid, unpaid leave of absence. 7, an employee's job will be held for them in accordance with applicable law while they are on pregnancy or parental leave. 8, if an employee is on pregnancy-related disability leave, when they are able to return to work, they must submit a doctor's certification stating that they are medically able to return to their normal duties. Their continued absence from work beyond the required disability leave period, as determined by their physician, and exhaustion of all other available leave may be deemed to a voluntary abandonment of their job. Nothing in this policy requires the city to reemploy individuals who are not eligible for reemployment rights under applicable law. 9, the city prohibits and will not tolerate discrimination or retaliation against any employee or applicant because of that person's pregnancy and or parental leave. Specifically, no one will be denied employment, reemployment, promotion, or any other benefit of employment to be subjected to any adverse employment action based on that person's pregnancy or parental leave. In addition, no one will be disciplined, intimidated, or otherwise retaliated against because that person exercised rights under this policy or applicable law. 10, the city is committed to enforcing this policy against discrimination and retaliation. However, the effectiveness of our efforts depends largely on employees telling us about inappropriate workplace conduct. If employees feel that they or someone else may have been subjected to conduct that violates this policy, they should immediately report it. If employees do not report such conduct, the city may not become aware of a possible violation of this policy and may not be able to take appropriate corrective action.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That's
Right.
helpful.
If we can get a motion and a second and a discussion with the second, and that way we can determine how we'd like to proceed.
So moved.
Second. Roll call, please.
Oh, whoa. Discussion, for discussion, Mayor, I'm sorry. Rhonda's worked really hard on this, and I appreciate all the work she's done. Really, all you're doing here is determining whether or not an employee is going to get paid leave. An employee is allowed to have up to 12 weeks of FMLA, family medical leave, for the birth of a child or the adoption of the child. So really, the only thing you're looking at is whether or not we are going to compensate those individuals for up to 4 weeks. Is that correct? Did I say that right?
Prior to the meeting, just in case some of you were not aware of the FMLA guidelines, I did put the guidelines in your mailbox. But yes, all employees, regardless, male, female, are eligible for FMLA. And basically, I feel like this is something we should give our employees 4 weeks of paid leave.
And I want to thank all of you for coming in and either talking to me or talking to Rhonda. I really appreciate
Yes,
that.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, now, questions,
Is
comments?
this something that we can do without having a policy? Sometimes I worry about passing a policy and giving people rope that they can hang us with, and I wonder if we could do that if we had some flexibility to give the paid leave without passing the policy.
I would think we would need a policy, wouldn't we, in the personnel manual?
I would think, yeah, I mean, there's got to be some guidance, guidelines under which to operate.
And Commissioner McKay, I believe you asked Kelly to reach out to the League of Cities after the last meeting. You want to fill them in on what they told you?
I think what Commissioner McKay, you posed the question to me, could we limit providing this benefit to
Those that had accrued leave already, I believe?
Yeah. Could we limit this? I think your question was, can we limit it to people that already had 4 weeks
To those
accrued?
who haven't been here long enough, the first year, or not qualified, you have to be here to qualify for FMLA, don't you?
Correct.
Yeah.
And the build-up time. I
Right.
just wanted to know if we could possibly help those new employees as opposed to somebody that's been here 5 or 10 years. That's what I asked you. I mean,
Right.
Yeah.
Somebody
Okay.
that's been here long enough and know the rules and have had the opportunity to build up some accrued and limited time.
Okay, and so I recall that, and I posed that question to Morgan Patterson, who was part author of this, and
Who's with the staff attorney for the League of Cities.
yeah, and her response was, I guess you could craft it in that fashion, but the purpose that the league wrote this model language was to recruit and retain the younger workers. So the answer that I got was that, you can try to craft it anyway, but it's designed for the recruitment of the younger workers that don't have anything accrued yet.
Right.
Yeah.
It seemed like they could have written that in about 2 paragraphs instead of 9. It was almost like it was written by a plaintiff's lawyer instead of by somebody who wanted to write a policy, to me. And to me, that almost raises eyebrows in and of itself, all the extra language they put in that they didn't need. I mean, I'm happy to put in a policy that helps us recruit and retain employees, but the other stuff, I don't know why they would saddle us with that, but whatever. What do you think, Mr. City Manager? Do you
I
approve
think
this, or do you
I agree
modify it?
100% with this. I think it is a valuable tool for recruitment and retention. I commend that lady right there for the work she's done on it. It was her idea. She brought it to me, and I do support it 100%. Absolutely.
So I understand Commissioner Woods. Now, I worked from what the League of Cities, what Rhonda provided, was she from the League of Cities. So I crafted this order from their language. I understand your concerns, Commissioner Wood, mostly about paragraph 10, where they're saying we're committed to enforcing against discrimination and retaliation. I can see if somebody feels like they've been discriminated against and retaliated against, citing this in a civil complaint, saying it's your policy, and my client has been discriminated against and retaliated against. So, if the only thing I might say is, based upon your concern, eliminating paragraph 10 might be prudent.
Would it be possible just to add a single paragraph and add it under time? We had accrued time, sick time, maternal.
But paragraph 10 supports the Kentucky Pregnant Workers Act, and the very first sentence of that says prohibits employment discrimination and retaliation to an employee's pregnancy, childbirth. That's where it came from.
And I'm just nodding my head because I agree. I don't know I don't know what the stuff she knows on that, but I know she knows it.
But to answer, I mean, can I simplify this? Yes. If you wanted to see and we can, just address, I understand stating what we stand for and what our policy is, but if I think we could even get rid of 9 and 10 that says the city, we won't tolerate discrimination or retaliation.
Isn't that in our handbook that we don't?
We don't, no, yeah, we do not.
So
We
we're
do
all
not.
right
We've
We do not.
already in the handbook for that.
Yeah,
Okay.
and these individuals that are pregnant they are covered. They are covered under discrimination laws. I mean, you
Right,
can't discriminate
right.
against.
I'm
Yeah.
not saying it's.
Oh, yeah, sure.
I just know that the first thing that a plaintiff's lawyer does is they order a copy of your policy and procedure manual, and then they look for ways to hang it with it. And I don't mean to speak ill of lawyers, but I just, Joe's telling me what somebody fancy's gonna do, and I mean, is there a way to simplify this and bring it back before it's time to use it, or is this something that needs to be modified tonight and voted on, or?
Even if we remove paragraphs 10, I think your numbers were different than mine. Where yours 9 and 10. The very first paragraph makes reference to KPWA, which is the Kentucky Pregnant Workers Act, which states the same thing that are in those two paragraphs. So, I mean, technically, yes, we could remove it, but the very first paragraph
Covers
makes
it.
reference to it.
Mr. City Attorney, is there anything else that you would recommend simplifying out of that, or was it just the two paragraphs that you briefly mentioned?
So,
No, I mean, the seems to me that 1 through 8 sets forth how this is supposed to work. 9 and 10 is more of the language about, here we're not going to allow discrimination. And I mean, I think you got to have at least 1 through 8 in there that sets forth the policy under which we're going to operate, sets the rules.
but are you saying that reference in the first paragraph covers 9 and 10?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, I think, one of the important things here is just thinking about those individuals and what they're experiencing. And if you're not getting a paycheck, then, as Rhonda explained, they're not, then we're covering their insurance. And when they come back, they're still not getting their full paycheck because they've got to make up the insurance that we've paid in for them.
Correct.
So, I mean, they're digging themselves a hole, and I just don't feel like it's right to do people that way.
And they have to pay into the retirement system while they're.
Well, they lose the
401.
retirement time unless they determine they want to go back and pay
Yeah, right.
for
So, I believe, having read some of recently the Robert's Rules of Order for our commission,
You got a motion.
Yeah.
that we can amend that motion and to eliminate that language and still move forward with this.
That's what I would do. I would move to eliminate 9 and 10. If it still works that way, I mean, if we still get an effective policy that
Yeah. You okay with?
does
Okay.
what we want to do.
You want to do that? Do you want to amend your motion to remove?
Would it be easier if I just withdrew my motion?
That's okay. Okay.
I withdraw my motion.
Okay.
And-
All right.
And whoever did the second, yeah.
Withdraw and then come back in?
Yeah, and then come
Okay.
back.
Okay?
All right,
Roll
good.
call, please.
Well, no, we need, now we need a motion.
Then I'd make that motion
Yeah.
to
Yeah,
adopt.
but I mean, do we have to have a roll call to rescind?
To rescind, no, I don't, no. So Commissioner Wood, go ahead.
I would make a motion to adopt the policy as presented with the exception of paragraph 9 and 10.
And I'll second it. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Brammer,
Yes, sir.
Commissioner Cartmell,
Yes, sir.
Commissioner Wood,
Yes.
Commissioner McKay,
Yes.
Mayor Cottrell.
Yes, sir. Resolution authorizing application for FAST Act Grant 22-12.
A resolution adopting and approving the execution of a municipal aid co-op program contract between the City of Maysville and the Commonwealth of Kentucky Transportation Cabinet Department of Rural and Municipal Aid for the fiscal year beginning July 1st, 2022, as provided in the Kentucky Revised Statutes, and accepting all streets referred to therein as being streets which are a part of the incorporated area. Now therefore be it resolved by the City of Maysville, Kentucky as follows. The City of Maysville does hereby adopt all streets referred to in said contract as being city streets which are a part of the City of Maysville. And the City of Maysville does hereby ratify and adopt all statements, representation, warranties, covenants, and agreements contained in said contract, and does hereby accept said contract, and by such acceptance agrees to all the terms and conditions therein stated. And the mayor is hereby authorized and directed to sign said contract as set forth on behalf of the City of Maysville, and the city clerk is hereby authorized and directed to certify thereto.
So moved.
Second. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Brammer,
Yes, sir.
Commissioner Cartmel,
Yes.
Commissioner Wood,
Yes.
Commissioner McKay, Mayor Cottrell.
Yes, sir. Resolution authorizing the application for Crum Rubber Grant, 22-13.
Okay, I got out of order.
Okay,
What did you just?
What I just read was 14 on my resolution, on my agenda, it was.
Yeah, that was right.
Okay,
Yeah, that was right. Municipal road aid. That's what
Okay.
I had. Resolution authorizing
And then
municipal road aid co-op.
Fast.
Yeah, the next it should be, you have the FAST Act next.
oh, yes, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
I
That's okay.
just remember hearing the word FAST Act.
No, you're good.
Okay.
Go ahead.
All right. A resolution authorizing the filing of an application with the Department of Transportation, United States of America, for a grant under Fixing America's Surface Transportation Act, FAST Act, and a resolution committing the local share of funds necessary to secure a Section 5311, 5339, 5310, 5303, 5304 grant application. Whereas the Secretary of Transportation is authorized to make grants for mass transportation projects, and whereas the contract for financial assistance will impose certain obligations upon the applicant, including the provision by it of the local share of the project costs, and whereas it is required by the U.S. Department of Transportation in accordance with the provisions of Title VI of the Civil Rights Act of 1964, that in connection with the filing of an application for assistance under the Fixing America's Surface Transportation Act, FAST Act, the applicant gives an assurance that it will comply with Title VI of the Civil Rights Act of 1964 and the Department of Transportation requirements thereunder, and whereas it is required by the U.S. Department of Transportation in accordance with the provisions of Section 504 of the Rehabilitation Act of 1973, that in connection with the filing of an application for assistance of the applicant gives an assurance that it will comply with Section 504 of the Rehabilitation Act of 1973 and the U.S. Department of Transportation requirements thereunder, and whereas it is required by the U.S. Department of Labor in accordance with the provisions of Section 5333B of Fixing America's Surface Transportation Act, FAST Act, that in connection with the filing of an application for assistance under the FAST Act, that the absence of a waiver, that and in the absence of a waiver from the U.S. Department of Labor, the applicant gives an assurance that it will comply with Section 5333B of the FAST Act and the U.S. Department of Labor requirements thereunder. And whereas it is the goal of the applicant that that disadvantaged business enterprises be utilized to the fullest extent possible in connection with this project, and the definite procedures shall be established and administered to ensure that disadvantaged businesses shall have maximum feasible opportunity to compete for contracts when procuring construction contracts, supplies, equipment contracts, or consultant and other services. Now therefore be it resolved by the Board of Commissioners, City of Maysville, Kentucky, hereinafter referred to as Applicants Governing Board of the City of Maysville, Kentucky, hereinafter referred to as applicant, authorizes the following in regards to Deborah L. Cottrell, Mayor, hereinafter referred to as agency representative. The agency representative of the applicant is authorized to execute and file an application on behalf of the applicant with the U.S. Department of Transportation to aid in the financing of the capital operating administrative assistant projects described in the attachment. That agency representative is authorized to execute and file with such application an assurance or any other document required by the U.S. Department of Transportation effectuating purpose of Title VI of the Civil Rights Act of 1964, that the agency representative of the applicant is authorized to set forth and execute affirmative minority business policies in connection with the project's procurement needs, that the agency representative of the applicant is authorized to set forth and execute with such application and assurance that the applicant will comply with the conditions of Section 5333B warranty as required by the U.S. Department of Labor effectuating purposes of Section 5333B of the FAST Act, that the agency representative is authorized to furnish such additional information as the U.S. Department of Transportation may require in connection with the application of the project, that the agency representative is authorized to execute grant contract agreements on behalf of the applicant with the Kentucky Transportation Cabinet for aid in the financing of the capital operating administrative assistance projects, that the agency representative is authorized to sign all grant budgets, application, and contract agreements via electronic signature on behalf of the applicant with the Kentucky Transportation Cabinet. This resolution shall be in full force and effect from and after the date of its adoption. Whereas the applicant is authorized by Kentucky KRS 96.189 to apply for and accept grants of money to assist in the implementation of a transit system for transportation planning in the city of Maysville service area. Whereas applicant has applied to the Kentucky Transportation Cabinet and Federal Transit Administration of the United States Department of Transportation Act of 1964 in connection with Section 5311, 5339, 5310, 5303, and 5304 project. And whereas applicant requires assurance of the applicant's governing board relative to the commitment of local share for sections 5311, 5339, 5310, 5303, 5304 projects. Now therefore be it resolved by the Board of Commissioners, City of Maysville, Kentucky, one, that the applicant's governing board hereby gives assurance that it is the intent of this body to commit its local share of the funds necessary to support this project to improve transit service in the applicant's service area as stated above for a minimum of 5 years from the inception of the project. Said local share of expenses is to be resolved from general fund, including bus fares. 2, that the applicant's governing board hereby gives assurance that it is the intent of this body to continue the operation of a transit service or planning for transit service for a minimum of 5 years.
Thank you.
All right.
Second. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Brammer,
Yes, sir.
Commissioner Cartmell,
Yes.
Commissioner Wood,
Yes.
Commissioner McKay, Mayor Cottrell.
Yes, sir.
Is there- Oh, sorry. Is there a bus washer in that deal?
Resolution authorizing the application of Crumb Rubber Grant 22-13.
This one is a relief. Resolution authorizing application for Crumb Rubber Grant. Be it resolved by the City of Maysville, Kentucky, that the mayor is hereby authorized and directed to sign an application for a Crumb Rubber Grant.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Commissioner Brammer,
Yes, sir.
Commissioner Cartmell,
Yes.
Commissioner Wood,
Yes.
Commissioner McKay,
Yes.
Mayor Cottrell.
Yes, sir. Resolution authorizing mayor to pursue funding through FEMA programs 22-14.
Resolution of the City of Maysville, Mason County, Kentucky, authorizing the mayor to pursue funding applications through FEMA, HMPG, PDM, and other such programs offered by FEMA. Whereas this resolution authorizes the mayor to sign and execute any and all documents pertaining to applications between the City of Maysville and FEMA. Now therefore be it resolved by the City of Maysville, Kentucky, that the mayor is authorized to pursue funding through the Federal Emergency Management Agency, HMPG, PDM, and other such programs offered by FEMA.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Commissioner Brammer,
Yes, sir.
Commissioner Cartmell,
Yes.
Commissioner Wood,
Yes.
Commissioner McKay,
Yes.
Mayor Cottrell.
Yes, sir. Resolution authorizing contracts with retired police officer Jeff Horde 22-15.
Resolution authorizing rehiring of a retired police officer. Be it resolved by the City of Maysville, Kentucky, that the mayor is hereby authorized and directed to execute the contract for rehire with retired officer Jeffrey Horde for full time for a period of 1 year, effective on September 1, 2021.
So moved.
Second.
Oh, sorry.
What's it go?
Roll call, please.
Commissioner Brammer,
Yes, sir.
Commissioner Cartmell,
Yes.
Commissioner Wood,
Yes.
Commissioner McKay,
Yes.
Mayor Cottrell.
Yes, sir. Resolution authorizing contract with retired police officer Chris Neal
Resolution, oh, sorry.
22-16.
Resolution authorizing rehiring of retired police officer. Be it resolved by the City of Maysville, Kentucky, that the mayor is hereby authorized and directed to execute the contract for rehire with retired officer Chris Neal for full time for a period of 1 year effective December 1, 2021.
So moved. Second.
Roll call, please.
Commissioner Brammer,
Yes.
Commissioner Cartmell,
Yes.
Commissioner Wood,
Yes.
Commissioner McKay,
Yes.
Mayor Cottrell.
Yes, sir. Resolution authorizing renewal surveys with KLCIS 22-17.
Be it a resolution authorizing insurance application. Be it resolved by the City of Maysville, Kentucky, that the mayor is hereby authorized and directed to execute the underwriting renewal survey application from Kentucky League of Cities Insurance Services.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Commissioner Brammer?
Yes, sir.
Commissioner Cartmel?
Yes.
Commissioner Wood?
Yes.
Commissioner McKay? Mayor Cottrell?
Yes, sir. Resolution authorizing Trails Grant Application 22-18.
Resolution authorizing recreational trails grant. Whereas the City of Maysville proposes to develop recreational resources to provide for the health and well-being of the general public. And whereas the City of Maysville intends to make application to the Department of Local Government for assistance under the Recreational Trails Program. And whereas the Recreational Trails Program is limited to funding a maximum of 80% of proposed project cost, estimated not to exceed $250,000. Now therefore be it resolved by the City of Maysville, Kentucky, that the City of Maysville hold in reserve 20% of the proposed project cost for the purpose of matching the Recreational Trail Program assistance. And further be it further resolved that in the event a grant is awarded, the City of Maysville hold in reserve 20% of the proposed project cost for the purpose of matching the Recreational Trail Program assistance, and that in the event a grant is awarded, the city understands that it will sign assurance to comply with all applicable federal and state laws, rules, and regulations, especially Title VI of the Civil Rights Act and Section 504 of the 1973 Rehabilitation Act.
I make that motion.
I'll second.
Roll call, please.
Commissioner Brammer?
Yes, sir.
Commissioner Cartmel?
Yes.
Commissioner Wood?
Yes.
Commissioner McKay?
Yes.
Mayor Cottrell?
Yes, sir. Resolution of adoption of Buffalo Trace Add Regional Hazard Mitigation Plan, update 22-19.
Resolution of adoption of the Buffalo Trace Regional Hazard Mitigation Plan update, FEMA approved plan update. Whereas certain areas of the City of Maysville are subject to periodic flooding, tornadoes, severe winter storms, severe thunderstorms, and landslides and other natural hazards that have potential to cause damages to people and properties within the area. And whereas the City of Maysville desires to prepare and mitigate for such natural hazards, and whereas under the Disaster Mitigation Act of 2000, the United States FEMA requires that local jurisdictions have in place a FEMA-approved hazard mitigation action plan as a condition of receipt of certain future federal mitigation funding after November 1, 2004. Whereas the Buffalo Trace Regional Mitigation Plan update was developed in accordance with the regulations of the Disaster Mitigation Act of 2000 and the guidance provided by the Federal Emergency Management Agency. Whereas to assist cities and counties in meeting this requirement, the Buffalo Trace Area Development District has facilitated the development of a multi-jurisdictional hazard mitigation plan covering member jurisdictions of the Buffalo Trace Area Development District, including the City of Maysville, Kentucky. Now therefore be it resolved by the City of Maysville, hereby 1, adopts those portions of the Buffalo Trace Hazard Mitigation Plan update that pertain to the City of Maysville. 2, vested the City of Maysville Office of Emergency Management with the responsibility, authority, and means to inform all concerned parties of this action, develop an addendum to this hazard mitigation plan if the town's unique situation warrants such addendum, oversee the development and incorporation of the hazard mitigation plan, update information into existing policies, procedures, and community plans, including but not limited to the local comprehensive plan. 3, appoints Buffalo Trace Area Development District Regional Mitigation Committee to assure that the hazard mitigation plan be reviewed according to the plan maintenance procedures of the plan, and that any needed adjustment to the plan be developed and presented to the Mason County Mitigation Committee and to the City of Maysville for consideration. 4, agrees to consider any other official actions as may be reasonably necessary to carry out the objectives of the Buffalo Trace Regional Hazard Mitigation Action Plan for the City of Maysville, Kentucky.
So moved.
Second. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Brammer?
Yes, sir.
Commissioner Cartmel?
Yes, ma'am.
Commissioner Wood?
Yes.
Commissioner McKay?
Yes, sir.
Mayor Cottrell?
Yes, sir. closed session pursuant to KRS 61.810(1)F, discussion that might lead to appointment of individual employee.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Commissioner Brammer,
Yes, sir.
Commissioner Cartmell,
Yes, sir.
Commissioner Wood,
Yes.
Commissioner McKay, Mayor Cotterill.
Yes, sir.
And we will not be taking any action when we come back. Get him real quick. Dennis, I'll start with you. We'll start with you. Yeah. No, you're good, yeah.
Public Works is always.
No, you're good.
Oh, yeah.
I just want to.
But now, but like, we get the subdivision, right, strong, we'll bring it down. Have a judge, come up from there. We have to put, yeah, anything. That was down at, the police department, sheriff's office. They get the top of it. So it was 18, you know, playtime, storm, sanitary, evaluation, so. Deep. That's what we always do. Bound and metal, that's what we do. Now, if we had parts to replace it, we would. But we ain't gonna wait 2 years for it. I don't think you got that way.
No, I got it.
And see what will happen, eventually that'll work its way out. But also, I'm gonna get a piece of metal, you can look at this tomorrow. They found a huge stone manhole. Okay. To the back of the sheriff's office.
Yeah.
It's got a square lid. It was, had concreted over, didn't even know that. I bet you it's like 10 pipes coming into it, probably 15 foot.
Oh, I want to look at that.
So I'm gonna get a piece of metal, maybe, some handles. They put a piece of metal on it tonight.
Okay.
We didn't know, had no idea. So,
Yeah.
those are, but yeah, storm sewers, that's right. Dennis, take care of it. But
I got told something different.
That's
That's why I asked you.
you mean the weeds take care of it?
What, no, I got, somebody told me, like, it's something with, is this not Jewish? And I was, so, I just figured I'd ask you.
We always, no, I mean, saying, we
Yeah.
always call them,
Yeah.
our guys. Now, if we need help digging anything out,
Right,
Dennis will do it.
okay.
Our guys don't prepare. Now, top of the hill, there's catch basins,
Yeah.
but now when you get down the street, it's the whole sewer.
Oh, yeah, it's definitely
I
ours.
see that,
That's no
well, and
question.
that one goes to that one, the big rock sewer. But,
That phone that you use, it's about $1,500, but you got that flat roll Walmart.
I can get, it's AutoCAD, but it's gonna be
Okay.
more than that.
It's gonna be more
But
than that.
I can get a version of it, a copy of what I got,
Yeah.
to get to Jason.
I'd love to
That's
have
something
that,
else.
because I still gotta get the map.
Well, let me talk about, get to, because I've got in my budget this year, to get an update.
Okay.
And what I'll do is I'll get two, I'll just get a license.
And it would help, especially trying to get rid of the map of the
Well,
history stuff.
Yeah, see, I've got all that.
You want Kevin? Yeah. Hold on, Kevin. You're on the carpet now. God, they're draining me. Overhire a woman. How's your hand? Good. Doing good?
I wouldn't wanna read all that. Wouldn't either.
Thank you all. Have a good evening.
Yeah,
Thanks, Kelly.
we're done, right?
Well, we gotta go back into open session and then.
session. Motion to return.
Second.
Commissioner Brammer,
Yes, sir.
Commissioner Cartmell,
Yes, sir.
Commissioner Wood,
Yes.
Commissioner McKay.
Yes.
Okay, Mayor Cotterill.
Yes, sir. Is there any?
Motion.
That is all, Mayor and Commissioners, that is all I have for you. It is a regular meeting. If there's anything else you have,
I make
Okay.
a motion to adjourn.
okay,
Yeah, that'd be just,
okay. Is that a second?
yes, it is.
Okay.
Yeah.
I heard the noisiest motorcycle going around town today. He read it on purpose all the way around the block.
I can do that administratively. I can check with them.
Oh, are we out, are we?
Um,
We haven't voted yet.
No, we have not voted yet.
Roll call.
Yeah,
Okay.
just one discussion, just on one thing. Our Simon Kenton statue has been cast, and it will be here, June the 1st.
Great,
We've already talked to Dennis about building a platform for it, and, yeah,
great.
so it will definitely be ready for, Simon Kenton Festival.
Okay.
You ready for roll call?
Yes, ma'am.
Roll call, please.
Commissioner Brammer,
Yes, sir.
Commissioner Cartmell,
Yes, yes.
Commissioner Wood, Commissioner McKay, Mayor Cottrell.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you all. I do appreciate it. Good meeting.